Chapter 11:18. Yes, the system's mission has been completed. The store has been fully opened to the host. You can no longer stay in this world. Su Yiyan was silent for a while. Although she knew that there was something in her mind at the beginning, she always felt an inexplicable sense of fear and doubt. However, during this period of time, the system had indeed helped her a lot. People's hearts were made of flesh. After this period of interaction, she actually had already regarded the system as a friend. And now this friend was leaving. It was possible that they would never meet again in this lifetime. As if it had sensed Su Yiyan's emotions, the system suddenly opened its mouth and asked, "Host, these remaining points, can you give them to me?" Points? Su Yiyan was a little puzzled, but did not think much of it. Anyway, the system was leaving. There was no use for her to keep these points. Sure. Then goodbye. When the last mechanical voice fell, no one noticed that an invisible light had split into two beams and landed on Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan respectively. It flashed, then returned to silence. Goodbye. Su Yiyan whispered in her heart. She felt lost. What's wrong? Hua Qinhuan saw that Su Yiyan had suddenly stopped. Her face also showed some disappointment as she asked with concern. Su Yiyan seemed to wake up from a dream. She forced a smile and shook her head. Carrying the child, she walked towards the car. At this moment, a few people suddenly cried out in alarm not far away. Be careful. Su Yiyan was shocked. She instinctively turned her head and saw that the scarred man she had met before had escaped from the main group. He was standing in the corner of the courtyard in a secluded area. He raised his finger and pointed at Hua Qinhuan's position. It looked like he was about to pull the trigger. No, Su Yiyan screamed, but it was too late to stop him. The heart-stopping sound of a gunshot rang out. What everyone expected did not happen. The knife-scarred man stared blankly at the wound on his chest where blood kept gushing out. The pride and viciousness on his face had completely turned into astonishment. He blankly turned his head to look, and then his body swayed and fell heavily to the ground. Behind him, Zheng Qianyang watched this scene with a cold expression. He slowly put away the thing that was still warm in his hand. Su Yiyan was shocked and glad at the same time. Holding the child, her legs went soft and she sat on the ground. Not long after, a shadow covered her and pulled her into his arms. He comforted her softly. Don't be afraid, I'm fine. In a split second, all the things he had experienced, all the fear, and all the grievances he had felt that day exploded. She grabbed Hua Qinhuan's hand tightly and couldn't help but cry. She didn't cry when she was hit by a car, hit by another car, or threatened by bullets with her child. She didn't cry when she was brought to this secluded place and had to face not only the suspicious and cunning Do Tianyi, but also those vicious outlaws. When she couldn't even guarantee her own safety, she didn't cry. But all this patience finally fell apart when she saw the man pointing the gun at Hua Qinhuan. She could no longer pretend to be strong. It turned out that she was also afraid. She was afraid of death, but she was even more afraid of the death of the people she cared about. When Su Yiyan cried, the child in her arms also cried. Hua Qinhuan looked at the adult and the child crying. He didn't say anything. He just hugged her tighter. How could he not know about Su Yiyan's fear and lingering fear? Over the past day, his uneasiness and panic were no less than theirs. Fortunately, everything was over now. Chapter 11:19. When Su Yiyan woke up again, it was already noon the next day. Too many things had happened the day before. Not only was her back sore, but she was also a little absent-minded. She had forgotten how she came back yesterday. When she walked downstairs in a daze, she found that Cheng Xiuqin, Ling Xiaoqi, and the others were all there. Su Yiyan was so scared that she was completely awake. Dad, Mom, brother, and Xiaoqi. Why are you all here? You're still talking about it. Cheng Xiuqin took the lead and got up to greet her. She grabbed her hand and said, You actually hid such a big thing from me. If I didn't happen to see the live broadcast online yesterday. Cheng Xiuqin still had some lingering fear when she said this. God knew how worried and scared she and her husband were when they saw the live broadcast online yesterday. Fortunately, the children were fine. Otherwise, she wouldn't know what to do. Su Yuxuan, who wanted to hide this matter, and Hua Chenhuan looked at each other. They both felt a little guilty. They touched their noses and didn't dare to talk. Especially Su Yuxuan. When Su Yiyan came back yesterday, she was already tired and fell asleep. Hua Chenhuan carried her in. At that time, Su Yiyan's parents, who had received the news early and ran to the family Hua to wait, thought that something had happened to her when they saw her being carried in. Their legs went soft, and they almost fainted. Fortunately, although Hua Chenhuan was surprised to see them, she quickly explained that the adults and children were fine. They were just frightened and fell asleep, because they were too tired. The two of them were pulled back from the edge of collapse. However, after experiencing such ups and downs, the two of them were unwilling to go home. So they stayed in the family Hua for the night, waiting for the children to wake up. That night, Su Yiyan was very tired and slept like a log. The three of them did not get much sleep that night. When Su Yuxuan woke up, he tried to hide it from his parents, but it was only natural that his parents would settle the score with him. Before Su Yiyan went downstairs, he had already been scolded for a long time. When Su Yiyan heard Cheng Xiuqin's words, she knew what was going on. She quickly explained for Hua Chenhuan. Chenhuan and the others didn't tell you. It's their fault. But this matter was scary. They were afraid of scaring you, so they didn't dare to tell you. Forgive them. Cheng Xiuqin and his wife were a little angry at first, but Hua Chenhuan risked her life to go into the enemy's camp. Now, she only brought it up again because she was angry that they had excluded their parents from such a big matter. They were even worse than the viewers in the live stream who only found out about it at the end. Cheng Xiuqin glared at his daughter, who was eager to defend his son-in-law. I'll let it go this time. If this happens again, I'll take little Xingxing home and raise her. Let's see if you're worried. Su Yiyan rubbed her face, which was a little painful from being pinched. She laughed and said, I'm definitely worried. Someone might not be so. Who knows, he might even be asking for it. What? Cheng Xiuqin didn't hear the last part of Su Yiyan's words clearly. He frowned and asked. Su Yiyan hurriedly said, Nothing. I mean, since you said so, we won't dare to do it again. That's more like it. Cheng Xiuqin snorted and didn't continue to dwell on this topic. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. She turned to look at Hua Chenhuan, only to see that he was also looking at her. Su Yiyan was stunned. Thinking of what happened yesterday, her heart trembled. Chapter 11:20. The brief exchange of glances between the two did not attract the attention of the elders. When Mr. Su saw that his wife was done criticizing him, he also talked to Su Yiyan about another serious matter. Since you're fine, let your uncle and grandfather know later. Don't let them worry too much. Grandfather and uncle know about it too? This matter has caused a lot of commotion. How could they not know? I reckon that they won't be able to sit still for the next 2 days, and will come to see you and the child. Su Yuxuan seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. He coughed lightly and said, And those fans of yours online, it's best if you tell them that you're safe. Yesterday, your live broadcast was suddenly interrupted, and the police couldn't immediately give an explanation. Your fans are about to turn the sky upside down. The live broadcast was suddenly interrupted? When Su Yiyan heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was stunned. Yesterday's live broadcast was interrupted? When did it stop? When that woman suddenly went crazy and ran over to pounce on you and the child. Su Yiyan did not expect the live broadcast to be interrupted so early. However, her original intention of starting the live broadcast was to expose the true colors of Dou Tianyi and the others. At the same time, she also wanted to let Hua Chenhuan and the others confirm her situation and location. The live broadcast was interrupted at that time, so it did not have much of an impact. However, for the audience who watched the entire live broadcast at that time, the live broadcast being interrupted at that time was like watching a drama at the climax and suddenly saying, Please listen to the next episode. They were probably angry and worried. But then again, she was able to get out of trouble this time thanks to the favorable impression points provided by the audience. Even without Su Yuxuan's reminder, she was prepared to do something to repay these lifesavers. I know. Later, after I say goodbye to uncle and grandfather, I will let them know that I'm safe. Su Yiyan said this and suddenly turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. Where's Uncle? Why don't I see him? He went to deal with the aftermath. Hua Chenhuan paused. In the end, he still felt that Su Yiyan had the right to know about this. When Jingping is dead, the man who wanted to kill me is also dead. Those who were present at the time were either dead or injured. Dou Tianyi's condition worsened, and he was sent to the emergency room. I don't think he'll be able to come out again. Su Yiyan had already guessed most of these things, so there was nothing surprising about it. What she was more concerned about now was, have you caught those people? Hua Chenhuan was stunned. She knew that Su Yiyan was not only talking about the people in the villa yesterday, but also the group of people that Zheng Qianyang had been tracking. Yes, I've caught them all. This time no one is left out. Only then did Su Yiyan breathe a sigh of relief, revealing a relieved smile. Their souls in heaven can rest in peace now. Uncle is also free. Hua Chenhuan lowered her head and held Su Yiyan's hand. She replied in a low voice, yes. After confirming the safety of Su Yiyan and the child, the two elders finally felt relieved. The sleepiness that had been suppressed for the whole night also surged up. They went back to rest first. After the few of them left, Su Yiyan first went to check on the child. After confirming that he was still sleeping soundly, she reported to the old man that he was safe. In fact, when Su Yiyan came back yesterday, Qin Xueru and the others already knew about the situation on their side from Cheng Xiuqin. However, they still felt uneasy when they did not see him. Now that they finally saw him alive in front of them, they finally felt relieved. They gave Su Yiyan a few simple instructions and told her that they would go and see him in 2 days before hanging up. After hanging up, Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. After hesitating for a moment, she turned on the camera that had been installed for a long time. Chapter 11:21. The fans in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room were still brooding over the sudden interruption of the live broadcast the day before. They were running around, trying to find some clues from the major media reports to confirm the safety of Su Yiyan and her son. When they heard the sudden beep of the live broadcast, many people almost thought that they had heard wrongly. After the initial shock, a large number of people flocked to the live broadcast room. In a moment, the number of viewers in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room was pushed to the top of the website. Host? Is it really the host? Are the host and the baby all right? Yesterday's live broadcast was really infuriating. She dropped the ball at the crucial moment and caused me to not sleep well the whole night. I was worried about the safety of the host and the baby. Fortunately, the host is fine. Host? Oh my God, it's really the host. The host is back. It's good that she's fine. It's good that she's fine. I was really scared to death yesterday. How can there be such a deranged person in this world? They should all be captured and locked up, never to be let out again. Su Yiyan looked at the screen full of "it's good that she's fine." Her heart was slightly warm, thinking that she could successfully get out of trouble this time. These little cuties had contributed a lot. She couldn't help but smile a little. Thank you for your concern. I'm fine. Thanks to everyone's help, the rescue team came in time. The baby and I are fine. The bad guys have been arrested. With the host's personal confirmation, many people who were waiting in the live broadcast room were greatly relieved. It's good that the host and the baby are fine. Although I knew that those people were not good people when I watched the live broadcast, I was still shocked when I saw the official report this morning. The host and the baby are very lucky to be able to return safely. One who survives a great disaster is bound to have good fortune. I hope the host and the baby can be safe and happy in the future. Although the media reports didn't name names, people who were paying attention to the situation could still find clues from the large number of reports and match these words with what they had seen and heard. Su Yiyan's incident this time was very bad. If they didn't respond in time, it would easily cause panic. Therefore, a report came out early in the morning, pointing out the identity of the scarred man and the others. It claimed that they were a group of illegal forces who had been smuggled back from abroad. Their methods were cruel and very dangerous. However, with the cooperation of the police and the general public, this group of people have all been arrested and will no longer endanger the safety of the public. Please do not worry. As for the victim, Su Yiyan, Her identity was rather sensitive. Moreover, they were probably worried that Su Yiyan would attract too much attention and attract other dangers. Therefore, they did not mention much about her. This also caused the audience to be even more worried about Su Yiyan and her son's current situation. Once his tense nerves relaxed, he naturally had the mind to care about other things, such as Su Yiyan's true identity. So, is the host really President Su of Dongqing Group? The boss of the entertainment company whose boss is more popular than his employees? Su Yiyan almost choked when she saw this message. The boss was hotter than the employees? Where did this rumor come from? If there isn't an agency named Dongqing, it should be. It's actually true. No wonder those gossip accounts couldn't find out the host's identity, no matter how hard they tried. It turns out that the host has been jumping around under their noses all this time. Is this the legendary darkness under the light? Chapter 11:22. Don't talk about them, we didn't recognize it either. Thinking about it carefully, I also ate the melon of the host tearing up the mistress before. At that time, I felt that the voice in the video was inexplicably familiar, as if I had heard it somewhere. It's a pity that I didn't have the desire to know the truth. Now that I think about it, I missed 100 million yuan. There were many people who had this idea. Su Yiyan had torn up the green tea with her own strength, defended her own artists and other high-profile deeds, which had indeed attracted many people to eat her melon. It was just that at that time, no one dared to associate Su Yiyan with the boss of a big company. A few people who had a big imagination did not dare to speak out at will. A small food area's internet celebrity and a big boss with a winner's script. Wasn't this a blatant scam? No, they couldn't let the host bear inexplicable charges because of their momentary slip of the tongue. This idea must be nipped in the cradle. However, these people would never have thought that because of their sensibility, they would miss the truth again and again. They really didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Of course, there were also people who realized that many of their favorite artists belonged to Su Yiyan's company. The chef is ecstatic. I suddenly found that my favorite host turned out to be the boss of my favorite brother. The dimensional wall is broken. My little sister is the same. The host has a good eye. The qualifications of the artists promoted in recent years are very good, and they don't make any trouble. I suddenly remembered that the host and my brother had a scandal before. After that, my brother seemed to explain that it was because the new company learned that his sister was ill and hospitalized. The boss was very kind and took the initiative to visit and help his sister find a good doctor to treat her. This doctor shouldn't be the host, right? Yes, I also thought of it when you mentioned it. So the host went to the hospital to see a doctor for his sister, not to visit? Su Yiyan saw that someone mentioned Luo Weibing and his sister. She smiled, but was not in a hurry to grab the credit. She just said with a smile. At that time, I went to the hospital to visit. Luo Weibing's sister was able to get better because of the doctors in the hospital, but she did have a period of recuperation with medicinal cuisine when she recovered. That visit was to see how the child was recovering, so that we could make some follow-up adjustments. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, Luo Weibing's fans were a little excited. Those who had watched Su Yiyan's live broadcast and tasted the medicinal cuisine in her shop knew very well how effective these nourishing medicinal cuisines were. Listening to Su Yiyan, most people only think that she is modest, and Luo Weibing's fans spontaneously express their gratitude and flattery. Although the fans of other artists are half a beat slower, when they see Luo Weibing's fans start to brush up, they quickly react. This person was the boss. Their brother, Miss, was the boss of their idol's management company. He controlled the lifeline of their idol's resources. He was the boss who could casually leak a little of his information, and it would be enough for their idol to take off. There was no need to say anything, just praise him. Because of everyone's tacit understanding, the screen of the live broadcast room was instantly filled with all kinds of mushy flattery. Su Yiyan's eyes hurt when she saw it. At this moment, she suddenly saw a message from the corner of her eye. Her expression changed slightly, and her heart couldn't help but thump. Chapter 11:23. The content of the message was, "Host, Can the system you used when you were kidnapped really avoid detection by the scanning equipment? Can it be customized into the style you want? How much is the specific price? When will it be available? Can you pre-order it now? System? Su Yiyan's expression showed a moment of shock and panic, but she quickly covered it up. She frowned and asked, "What system?" Su Yiyan's question reminded many of the audience, and they followed suit and asked questions about the system. Su Yiyan extracted some key points from the rows of messages, and found out that not long after the official announcement, Hua Chenhuan's company made an announcement. They announced that the system Su Yiyan mentioned in the live broadcast was an anti-detection system that their company was researching. This system could avoid detection by various electronic devices. Moreover, this system was small in size and had many variations. Its appearance was very confusing and difficult to detect. It could accurately locate the owner when the wearer was in danger, send a signal to the first contact in the director's contact book, and automatically turn on the audio and video recording function. Su Yiyan read the announcement, and her feelings were very complicated. Logically speaking, as soon as this announcement came out, it could be said that it covered up everything that happened during the live broadcast yesterday. It gave a very suitable excuse, and also promoted a wave of their own products at the same time. However, the key point was that she knew better than anyone that she did not have the system that they were talking about. For the company's official account to suddenly make such an announcement, it must have been approved by Hua Chenhuan. It was even possible that he was the one who instructed them to do so. For him to do so, could it be that he found out something? If that was the case, why didn't he ask her? Su Yiyan had countless doubts in her heart, but she did not show them on her face. Since it says so, it can definitely be customized. As for the specific time and price, I'll ask my husband when the broadcast ends. It's just that for a product like this, it will take a lot of time to customize it. Su Yiyan was not sure if Hua Chenhuan's company really had a system with similar functions, so she simply gave an ambiguous answer. The audience who inquired did not understand her dilemma. After getting confirmation, they were very excited and said that money was not a problem. As long as the product was good, it was nothing. Most of the people who inquired had some background, and were not necessarily Su Yiyan's fans. They had only watched Su Yiyan's live broadcast yesterday, and were purely interested in the system. What do rich people care about the most these days? Of course it was fate. But because they were rich, there were many people who wanted them and their families' lives. Although such people would usually be escorted by bodyguards when they went out, who wouldn't want to take care of both to make themselves safer. What was supposed to be a good live broadcast to report their safety suddenly turned into a live broadcast to promote a new product in advance. The die-hard fans in Su Yiyan's livestream were both angry and amused at the same time. Host, do you still remember what kind of livestream we are doing? I don't mind if you want to promote medicinal cuisine, Chinese herbs, or even some of your endorsements. But can you not promote that stinky man's company's products in the live stream? Alright, I admit, I'm just jealous of that stinky man who can marry the streamer. Sour into lemon. J. Chapter 11:24. Of course, he was not the only one who was jealous. Soon many people agreed with this statement and began to denounce this lucky guy who saved the universe in his previous life and was lucky enough to marry the streamer in this life. Big Brother said what I wanted to say but didn't dare to. Although I knew the streamer was married and had a child, I still felt a shock when I saw her in person. Sob. I feel like my cabbage has been taken away. My heart hurts. Yes, I feel the same way. Although I know the streamer's other half is tall, rich and handsome, I still can't help but be picky. Most of the people who felt this psychological difference were the old viewers of Su Yiyan's live broadcast room. Many of these people were about the same age as Cheng Xiuqin. When they saw Su Yiyan, who was about the same age as their own child, it was inevitable that they liked other people's children more. They couldn't help but be a little picky when looking at her other half. Their child was so outstanding. How good must this person be to be worthy of her? Of course, not everyone thought this way. Early on, after Su Yiyan's identity was exposed, the situation of her and Hua Chenhuan's family was turned upside down. The final conclusion was that although the streamer's husband's relatives were a little weird, the relationship between the two was really sweet. Hey babies, why are you being poisonous? Isn't it good to be a couple? Before, we didn't know the identity of the streamer's other half. Now that we know, I suggest everyone look at the account of the streamer's company's CEO. You can easily find a lot of candy. Ha 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 ha. Although I can understand everyone's feelings, there's really nothing to be picky about the streamer's husband. Not only is he young and handsome, but he's also very rich and capable. The only two shortcomings seem to be that he only has a family of weird relatives, but it's said that they have already separated. They basically don't contact each other, and don't even greet each other when they see each other. Also, it seems that he was paralyzed for a while because of a car accident, but he's been cured. I just went to search for his recent photos. Those long legs perfectly match my fantasy of a domineering CEO. That's right, that's right. The streamer's boyfriend, not only is he handsome and has a good figure, but he's also capable and has a good background. Many people had seen the drama of the Hua Corporation changing hands. At that time, many people said that it was a feud between two rich brothers over money and power. After digging up the wealth and background of the tycoon, I just wanted to say to hell with fighting over wealth and power. The moronic media was the cause of death. The host's husband might not even be interested in the Hua Corporation, okay? Yan, Xiyan, and Huan Yu are all golden chickens that can lay eggs. Do they need to snatch the Hua Corporation? A mess that has already begun to decline? F***CK. The host's husband is the boss of fantasy? The fantasy games that developed virtual simulators, intelligent robots, and holographic games? How could the host's boyfriend be an ordinary rich second-generation heir? He's clearly a fighter jet among rich second-generation heirs. This is a rich second-generation heir? He could already be considered a real rich first-generation, right? But speaking of which, Onlooker seemed to be jointly founded by Ye and Huan Yu. If the streamer's husband was really the boss of fantasy media, wouldn't the streamer be the boss's wife? Why did he suddenly feel a little excited? What kind of domineering CEO doting on his wife is this? Su Yiyan saw people discussing her husband on the bullet screen. At first, she didn't pay much attention to it, until she saw the end. Chapter 1125. Melon Web was jointly founded by Ye and Huan Yu? Weren't these two companies the ones that Gu Xiaoyang and Yu Zian were in charge of? So, the livestream website she was on was actually Hua Chenhuan's private property? Su Yiyan felt that the impact she had received from today's livestream was more than what she had suffered in the past 2 or 3 years since her rebirth. Thinking about it carefully, it seemed that a certain administrator in her livestream room had taken the initiative to come to her not long after she started her livestream. He had even reached the top in one fell swoop, and became the only administrator in her livestream room at the fastest speed. Although becoming an administrator required her to be verified as the host of the live stream room, she also needed to accept the basic authentication of the website before she could lock in on the specific details. At that time, Hua Chenhuan had passed the verification so quickly. Su Yiyan had thought that the other party's generosity had captured the heart of the website's reviewer. Now, it seemed that it was not money at all. He had directly used his identity as a boss to open a green channel. While Su Yiyan was in a daze for a while, some of Su Yiyan's anti-fans, who had realized that Su Yiyan was the website's lady boss, began to revive from the ashes and became restless. I said that she must have a backer. Otherwise, how could she have promoted all kinds of homepage as soon as she started? She even made the livestream room into a one-man show and banned people's accounts at the slightest provocation. We can't afford to offend her. Upstairs, you are really bold. There are some things that you should know in your heart. Be careful not to be remembered by others. They will ban your account in a while. You dare to do it, but you don't allow people to talk about it? She originally relied on her husband to get to the top. Who knows how many people she has stepped on to gain popularity today. Her fans have been boasting that she has many rich fans. Now it seems that these accounts are all her company's own accounts. Money is going from her left pocket to her right pocket. She can even save on marketing. She can also trick some people who don't know the truth to follow the trend and reward her. These capitalists' faces are really too ugly. These people were just short of pointing at Su Yiyan's nose and scolding her for relying on her backer to get to the top and oppressing other live streams on the same platform. The jealousy in their sarcastic words could be seen at a glance. Su Yiyan's diehard fans could be said to be experienced in this aspect. How could they tolerate these jealous people being presumptuous in their own territory? They immediately ridiculed them. Oh my, I can smell the jealousy in some people's eyes even from a few kilometers away, saying that the streamer relied on her husband to get to the top. Forgive me for not feeling any ripples in my heart. I even wanted to laugh a little. Some people, even if they were uncultured, would go online more often. Before you blackmail her, you should check her background and count how many legends she has created since she started broadcasting. Otherwise, you won't know who will be embarrassed. Upstairs, you're still so patient to argue with these people. Now that I see these trolls, I can't even be bothered to look at them. The host is an active topic on the official account of the Research Institute, and even the official account directly praised her several times. Does she need to rely on her husband to get ahead? To put it bluntly, there are millions of internet celebrities in the world, but there's only one person like the host. With the host's strength, she can be popular anywhere. If the platform loses the host, it may not be able to keep people like us. You should first figure out the pros and cons before arguing with us. Otherwise, saying more will only expose your brainlessness and ignorance. Those who say that the host relies on her husband are either blind or brainless. Looking at it from a more recent point of view, the host just escaped from the tiger's mouth yesterday. Today, a certain company is promoting that whatever system. This is a blatant attempt to gain popularity. As long as you are not blind, you can see who is relying on who. Chapter 11:26. TSK, this is a family matter. How can it be called taking advantage of others' popularity? Everyone, pay attention. Don't be influenced by the anti-fans and try to sow discord between the host and her husband. As fans, we should love the house and its crow. The host and her husband complement each other. They go hand in hand and help each other. They are a match made in heaven. It's useless for some people to be jealous. Hold it in or get lost. If you dare to say another word, you'll be burned. He watched as the people who had sneaked into the live stream gradually became mixed up with the honest folk, and it became a noisy mess. Su Yiyan didn't want to continue talking to everyone. She simply said a few words, and was ready to go offline. Of course, before turning off the live stream, Su Yiyan confirmed the time and content of her next live stream with everyone. This greatly comforted the audience who were originally worried that she might not live stream in the future after this crisis. After turning off the live broadcast, Su Yiyan felt a little lost. Usually at this time, the system would take the initiative to summarize with her how many favorability points she had gained after this live broadcast. Before Su Yiyan could recover and find Hu Chenhuan to settle the score, the child's miserable cries came from outside the door. Su Yiyan's face changed slightly. She hurriedly got up and rushed outside. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Hu Chenhuan, who was at a loss, and the little guy in his arms, whose face was red from crying. The baby cries as soon as he wakes up. No one can coax him. Su Yiyan knew that the little guy was probably still trapped in yesterday's thrilling experience. She was very distressed and hurriedly took the child from Hu Chenhuan's arms. She whispered, "Baby, be good. Mommy is here. It's okay. We're already home. The bad guys have been beaten away by Mommy and Daddy. The baby is safe. Don't be afraid." Perhaps it was because his mother was by his side that the baby finally felt safe. Perhaps it was because Su Yiyan's words had an effect. The little boy's cries gradually became softer. After about 2 minutes, he finally stopped crying. He leaned into Su Yiyan's embrace, his 2 chubby little hands clutching onto Su Yiyan's collar. He was afraid that his mother would disappear in the blink of an eye. Su Yiyan heaved a sigh of relief when he finally managed to coax the little guy. He raised his head and met Hu Chenhuan's eyes, which were too late to look away. The moment their gazes met, Su Yiyan could see from Hu Chenhuan's face that there was nothing more straightforward than guilt. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, "I just turned on the live broadcast to tell my fans that I'm safe." "Yeah. Then they told me something interesting." Hua Chenhuan's heart skipped a beat. She braced herself and asked, "What interesting thing?" "I heard that the website I'm streaming on is under your company." "Yes. But I don't remember seeing this website on the list of companies you gave me." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment. She hesitated for less than 3 seconds between telling the truth and brushing it off. She decisively chose the former. "Okay, I admit that this website is under my company's name. The person in charge is Xing. The reason why I didn't see this website on the list was because I asked someone to pick it out in advance." "You picked it out?" Su Yiyan pondered for a moment and nodded meaningfully. "So this website is your private stash for yourself?" Hua Chenhuan was shocked by Su Yiyan's description. The corners of her mouth twitched as she said, "No, it's because I want to know more about you through this website. In fact, I've hidden another thing from you. The #1 admin in your live broadcast room is actually—" "I know." Before Hua Chenhuan could finish, Su Yiyan interrupted him first. She smiled and leaned in front of him, calling out softly, "Miss #1 on the list." Chapter 1127. Hua Chenhuan's entire body shook. He looked at Su Yiyan with shock and indescribable awkwardness. "You know? When did you find out?" "Oh, the first time you took the initiative to find me. That was a long time ago, but at that time, I didn't say who I was." Intuition. Su Yiyan didn't know why she was so sure that the person talking to her was Hua Chenhuan. She just felt that this person was very familiar to her. So familiar that she didn't need to distinguish to be sure of his identity. "At that time, there weren't many people in my broadcast room. Although those people seemed to like me very much, I felt that you were different from me. But I always feel that you are different from them. No matter what disguise you wear, as long as you talk to me, I will definitely be able to recognize you. This is my secret skill. I don't need any reason." When Hua Chenhuan heard her say this, he felt both sweet and funny. "You already know who I am, yet you keep calling me Big Sister. I saw that you enjoyed hearing me call you Big Sister, so I thought you liked me calling you that. I'm so considerate and spoil my fans, so I can satisfy my fans' little hobby." How could Hua Chenhuan not know that his wife was deliberately teasing him? After holding it in for a while, he could only helplessly sigh, "You." Then he said, "If you like this website, I'll have Xian transfer it to your name in a bit." Originally, he kept this website to protect his little disguise. Now that his disguise had been exposed, there was no point in keeping this website. Su Yiyan shook her head and said with a smile, "I'm not so overbearing as to care about my husband's secret stash of money. You should keep this website. You're my VVVIP client, and I'm your website's #1 host. I'll be indebted to Big Boss for protecting me in the future." Hua Chenhuan saw that Su Yiyan really didn't want the website, so she didn't force her. She smiled faintly and said, "Okay, I'll cover you and only you." The two adults sweetly displayed their love for each other. The little guy who was miserably neglected in Su Yiyan's embrace could not take it anymore. He slapped his father's chin with his little fist and called out to attract their attention. Su Yiyan lowered her head and kissed the little guy. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and asked with concern, "By the way, how is Xiaoyang? His injuries?" "He's fine. Did you stop the bleeding from his wounds?" "Yes. Time is limited, and Do Tiany's men are watching from the side. I can only help him stop the bleeding and wait for help. The doctor who treated him said that you did a good job. If you didn't stop the bleeding, he might not have been able to wait until the ambulance arrived. When you were rescued, he was already awake. He blamed himself for not being able to protect you and the child. It's not his fault. At that time, that group of people had guns in their hands. They even brought such a large number of cars to block us. Xiaoyang is not an impenetrable fortress. How could he stop them? When we have time later, we'll go to the hospital to see him." "Okay." Su Yiyan saw that Hua Chenhuan agreed without hesitation. She couldn't help but think of the announcement on the internet. She opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but stopped. Hua Chenhuan looked at her and couldn't help but wonder, "What's wrong?" Su Yiyan pursed her lips and said in a hoarse voice, "I saw the announcement your company made. It's about the system. Chapter 11:28. The atmosphere in the room suddenly froze because of Su Yiyen's words. After a moment of stalemate, Hua Chenhuan spoke first. I asked someone to do it. Su Yiyen pursed her lips and hesitated for a moment before asking tentatively, Did you? Hua Chenhuan raised his head and met Su Yiyen's gaze. He reached out to touch her face and said with a faint smile, I've said that you can say whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter if you don't want to say it. It's just like how I hide something from you. But it doesn't mean that I don't love you and you don't love me. On the contrary, sometimes I hide something because I can't say it out loud for various reasons. Everyone has their own secrets. As long as you don't leave me, as long as these concealments don't hurt you, it doesn't matter. Listening to Hua Chenhuan's words, Su Yiyen's uneasy heart settled down little by little. She fixed her eyes on the man in front of her. Obviously, he was not a person who would say sweet words, but every time he said something that touched her heart, she felt particularly at ease and safe. Let's find time in the next 2 days to go to the hospital to see Xiaoyang. Okay. Gu Xiaoyang looked bloody and scary that day. In fact, most of his injuries were superficial, and his internal organs were not hurt. However, no matter how superficial the injuries were, excessive bleeding could endanger his life. For this reason, Su Yiyen specially made a lot of nourishing dishes such as pig's liver and pig's blood. She visited him in the hospital several times with Hua Chenhuan. During his hospitalization, she even asked the restaurant to send him food every day. This made Yu Zian and Zui Yanbai, who had sympathized with him and could only lie on the hospital bed for a while, envious and jealous. They wished they could pull him up and enjoy this blessing in disguise. In addition, the kidnapping incident finally gave a satisfactory result on the 3rd day after Su Yiyen was rescued. Of the 2 groups of people who kidnapped Su Yiyen and her son, the scarred man's group was obviously much more dangerous than Do Tianyi's bodyguards. Unfortunately, the scarred man and the previous leader had already died in the chaos of the escape. The remaining people were all small fries, and it didn't take long for them to get a lot of information out of them. Zheng Qianyang and the others followed the clues and found the nests of many illegal organizations. They solved many major cases in one fell swoop, and caught many accomplices who had participated in the incident back then. They had truly avenged Hua Chenhuan's parents. Hua Qihan could have helped Zheng Qianyang and the others contact these people and atone for his crimes. At least he wouldn't have died. However, because he was too cowardly and wanted to escape at the last minute, even betraying Zheng Qianyang and the others at the critical moment, the scar-faced man and the others saw through him. As a result, although the mastermind died, the scarred man was able to escape with a group of people, and he himself paid the price and died in the chaos. When the details of the case were officially announced, his actions and the death of Hua Chenhuan's parents were deliberately exposed, so that even if he died, he would be nailed on the shelf of shame and be reviled. Do Tianyi, who cooperated with such dangerous people and tried to smuggle Su Yiyen out, could be convicted of treason to Country I. The Do family's stock price plummeted because of this incident. Do Tianyi's confidants were basically involved in this incident and couldn't come out in a short time. The company had no backbone to turn the tide, and it didn't take long for it to go bankrupt. Chapter 11:29. As for Do Tianyi, the mastermind behind all of this, his body rapidly deteriorated after Wen Jingping's death. He stayed in the intensive care unit with a ventilator until New Year's Eve. In the end, he breathed his last with unwillingness and resentment, confirming that he would not live past 30 in the original work. Su Yiyen only found out about this from others a week after Do Tianyi's death. Her heart did not fluctuate too much. She only lamented that if the system was still around, she would have been notified of such a big thing as the death of the world's male protagonist. How could she have waited until now? After Su Yiyen's identity was exposed, it attracted a little trouble as she had previously feared. Some people with difficult and complicated diseases rushed to her to see a doctor. These people either claimed to be relatives or friends, using all kinds of methods to curry favor with Su Yiyen to treat them. Naturally, Su Yiyen would not agree. If there was a first, there would be a second. Once this started, more and more people would stick to her like leeches. She could not get rid of them. Unable to bear the harassment, Su Yiyan simply moved to the small villa left behind by Chen Huan's parents in Huachenhuan for a period of time to avoid the limelight. It was also at this time that the Research Institute and Yi Qiliang, and a group of well-known pharmacologists rushed to express their gratitude for Su Yiyan's free donation. They also confirmed that the Chinese herbs did indeed have the effect of alleviating, and even treating some diseases that were difficult to overcome at this stage. In the near future, these herbs would be used to treat diseases in the real world. The audience who watched Su Yiyan's live broadcast realized that Su Yiyan had said in the live broadcast that she had already handed over all the relevant materials to the Research Institute and relevant departments. They would be studied by more professional people, so that they could be used in the right fields at the right time. It turned out to be true. Because of this, Su Yiyan's reputation soared. Some people who originally had crooked thoughts did not dare to act rashly. They could only wait patiently for the arrival of that day. The matter with Do Tianyi and the others came to an end. Su Yiyan and the others' lives finally returned to normal. However, when she occasionally went in and out of the kitchen, Su Yiyan's heart would still feel a little empty. She thought that she was not obvious, but she did not know that all of this fell into Huachenhuan's eyes. You don't seem to be in high spirits these days. Are you still upset about what happened before? Su Yiyan did not expect Huachenhuan to see through her. She was stunned for a moment before she said in a low voice, "It's not because of that. It's because I have a friend. I have a friend who has helped me a lot." A's a little sad. Friend S, Su's. SSSSS. He's SSSSSSS if he remembered. None of these people's zzzzzzzzz. So this friend. S I's right. It. I's right. S is right. SSS. Days SSSSS. I haven't seen Bao Bao play with it for the past 2 days. Yanbai Company's robot system is basically complete. They've brought Yuan back to upgrade it. They should be able to send it back today. Upgrade. Su Yiyan nodded, not fully understanding. She did not think much about it. She just thought that Yuan was brought back to upgrade its defense function. After all, Zui Yanbai and the others had originally designed this robot because of its safety performance. Right at this moment, there was a small commotion outside, and there was also the sound of a child crying. Chapter 1130. Both of them were stunned. They looked at each other and walked out together. As soon as they walked out of the door, they saw their little babies crawling around a familiar little robot with Dundun and Silly Boy. Their eyes were full of excitement and curiosity. Usually at this time, Roly Yuan would take the initiative to pick up the children and lift them up high, but today, this little robot seemed to be particularly cold. Su Yiyan glanced suspiciously at this familiar, yet strange lump of iron. Zui Yanbai happened to walk in from outside at this time. When he saw Su Yiyan and Silly Boy, his eyes flickered, revealing a faint sense of guilt. "Young master, young madam." Su Yiyan smiled at him. "Thank you for your hard work. Has Roly Yuan finished upgrading?" "Yes, it has. It's just that." "It's just that?" Without waiting for Su Yiyan to ask more, Dundun had already habitually led his son to Roly Yuan's body, wanting to climb onto Roly Yuan's head as usual. Roly Yuan didn't stop it, but it also didn't help the two little fat dogs to lift them up as usual. When Dundun finally climbed onto Roly's shoulder with great effort, Roly Poly finally turned its round little head and stared at Dundun with its hollow black glass eyes for a while. Then it coldly said in a mechanical voice, "Silly dog." Dundun, who was suddenly attacked by its little friend's language, was speechless. Su Yiyan was speechless. Although Huachenhuan didn't have much contact with this little robot, Su Yiyan liked the children, so he usually paid more attention to it. At this time, he finally realized that something was wrong and looked at Zui Yanbai inquiringly. Zui Yanbai touched his nose awkwardly and laughed. "Well, I don't know what's going on. After the upgrade, the robot seemed to have changed. At first, I thought it had accidentally covered something inside, but after checking it several times with the equipment, I didn't find any abnormalities." Zui Yanbai paused and looked at Su Yiyan carefully. "I brought it here today, because I want to ask young madam if you want to find another problem with it to see if it can be corrected, or get another robot here. Hua Chenhuan did not say anything and left the choice to Su Yiyan. When Su Yiyan heard Zui Yanbai's words, his heart couldn't help but skip a beat. He thought of the familiar phrase, stupid dog, and a crazy idea suddenly came to his mind. She walked step by step to the front of the little robot, leaned over and looked directly into its eyes. She asked tentatively, System? Who else could it be other than it? There was a hint of pride in its tone. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. She was both excited and confused. It's really you. How did you? Yin Yan. Before Su Yiyan could finish, Hua Chenhuan interrupted her. Su Yiyan then remembered that there were still people around. Her hand, which was about to reach out and pat the little metal head, froze in midair. Fortunately, Hua Chenhuan did not let her feel awkward for too long. He took the initiative to step forward and hold her outstretched hand. Let's keep it for now. We'll take a look. You can go back first. Although Zui Yanbai felt that the two of them were acting strangely, he did not ask much. Oh, okay. As soon as Zui Yanbai left, Hua Chenhuan's gaze fell on the robot. He did not let go of Su Yiyan's hand. Let's talk inside. Okay. The two of them had something to talk about, so they left the little fellow and Dundun in the care of the old butler. Only then did they bring the round skin system into the study. It's that friend of yours? Hua Chenhuan's hit the nail on the head surprised Su Yiyan, but she also felt relieved. He had guessed it. Yes. Su Yiyan finally patted the system's round head. It's a system. A system. Oh, you can think of it as an intelligent robot. It's a string of data. However, this data is already very close to a human. Hua Chenhuan narrowed his eyes. Although he did not like Su Yiyan being too close to other living things, he would not go so far as to be jealous of a string of data. Hello, host's partner. I am Advanced System 001 from the Advanced Realm. Nice to meet you, please advise me. As the system spoke, its two round little hands suddenly popped and two plastic flowers popped out. Su Yiyan. Hua Chenhuan. System. Our current resources are limited. Sorry to embarrass myself. Hidden meaning. This is not my fault but the robot's outer shell. The robot's designer must take the blame. Su Yiyan was the first to react. She could not help but laugh out loud. The originally serious atmosphere became subtle, and it was not as cold as it was before. The system, who had intended to leave a good impression on the host's partner, had failed and shut down on the spot. Seeing this, Hua Chenhuan could not help but laugh. However, he was still concerned about the matter at hand. He coughed lightly and said, What's going on? When did you end it? Su Yiyan stopped laughing. She stared at Hua Chenhuan for a while, as if she had made up her mind. She took a deep breath and said, What I'm going to say next may seem unbelievable to you, but I swear on my character and my happiness in this life that every word I'm going to say is true. I believe you. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Hua Chenhuan said without hesitation, As long as you say it, I believe you. Su Yiyan was stunned. Her face still looked familiar, but her eyes relaxed. Hua Chenhuan was very familiar with the beginning of the incident. Hua Xiaofeng brought his little girlfriend to the family Hua's banquet. He got into an argument with Su Yiyan, who was also invited to the banquet, and pushed her down the stairs. She was injured and hospitalized. However, what happened after that was completely different from what Su Yiyan knew. The Su family forcefully cancelled the engagement between Su Yiyan and Hua Xiaofeng, but did not allow Su Yiyan to marry him. They were like two parallel lines that had never intersected. Until Su Yiyan's death, they had never intersected. Hua Chenhuan was shocked when he heard the first half of the story, but he remained calm. However, when he heard that Su Yiyan had died in a car accident 3 years after her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was cancelled in his previous life, he felt as if he had never experienced it before. Even though he had not seen it with his own eyes, he still felt that the blood in his body seemed to have cooled down in an instant. It made him subconsciously want to hold Su Yiyan's hand and feel the warmth of her body to confirm that she was still alive. Su Yiyan sensed his emotions. She stopped talking and held his hand to comfort him. Don't be afraid. It's all in the past. Hua Chenhuan lowered his eyes to hide the gloomy coldness in his eyes. He was afraid that he would scare Su Yiyan. Was it an accident, or was it intentional? It was an accident, but it was also intentional. Su Yiyan did not linger on this topic. Instead, she continued. I didn't lose my consciousness immediately after my death. Instead, I became a soul that no one could see. I saw my parents sad, and I also saw you. I realized that you had always liked me. Hua Chenhuan subconsciously tightened his grip on Su Yiyan's hand. He felt that everything was explained. They had never met before, but Su Yiyan suddenly chose to get engaged to him after her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was cancelled. Moreover, she seemed to know that he would not reject her. It was impossible for him to reject her. After that, I don't know why. Maybe it was because you were too stubborn, or maybe it was for some other reason. My soul floated away with you and stayed by your side for half a year. I watched you try to protect my family for me. You tried to shelter them from the wind and rain, but in the end, you couldn't resist the rules of the world. You couldn't save the dead people's hearts. I watched them leave one by one. I watched you drag those who had hurt me to hell one by one in order to avenge me. But in the end, you didn't get redemption. You took the initiative to fall into depravity and followed her. Hua Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyan's story. There was no fluctuation in his heart at all. He only felt sorry for Su Yiyan. Hua Xiaofeng, Wen Jingping, Hua Qihan, Cheng Fenglang, and that bullsh *T rule of the world. In order to let those two idiots ascend, they had to step on the people he loved the most. They had to step on those innocent people as stepping stones and carry them up step by step. Such rules were meant to be broken. Su Yiyan told him everything. She closed her eyes and let out a long breath. Then she looked at Hua Chenhuan and asked carefully, Do you believe me? Hua Chenhuan kissed her forehead tenderly and pitifully. In fact, Su Yiyan thought about it later. Even if Wen Jingping hadn't been there, she and Hua Xiaofeng probably wouldn't have gotten married. However, if she hadn't been the trigger, the two families wouldn't have gotten into such an ugly fight. Su Yiyan knew what Hua Chenhuan was jealous about. She raised her head and kissed him. She smiled and said, Don't worry. Whether it's in my previous life or in this life, you're the only one I've ever loved. Hua Chenhuan looked down at his little wife. At this moment, he only felt that her eyes were full of stars. They were so bright that he couldn't take his eyes off them. Seeing that the two of them were about to kiss and hug each other, the system, which had been neglected for a long time, finally couldn't stand it anymore. Host and partner, please consciously abide by the regulations for the protection of mental health of robots. Do not perform any restricted scenes in front of the system. Do not perform any restricted scenes in front of the system. Ahem. In the end, Su Yiyan wasn't as thick-skinned as Hua Chenhuan. When she heard this familiar warning, she remembered that there was still an artificial camera in the room. She hurriedly withdrew from Hua Chenhuan's embrace. Her face was slightly red, and she didn't dare to meet the system's dark glass eyes. Hua Chenhuan smiled faintly and went forward to pat the system's round head. He said sincerely, Thank you for taking care of Yin Yan during this period of time. Thank you for your help. You're welcome. This is what the system should do. Su Yiyan stood at the side for a while. When the heat on her face subsided, she went forward and asked, Didn't you leave after the mission was completed that day? Why did you suddenly come back? And you even ran into Yuanyuan's body? Don't tell me you got addicted to swallowing systems and swallowed Yuanyuan's data as well. You're like a turtle dove taking over a magpie's nest, right? When the system heard her say this, it was furious. The system that swallowed the world's female protagonist that day was purely out of helplessness. Moreover, it was the host's request and not the system's will. The system doesn't have the habit of swallowing other systems. Please stop slandering the system. The original data of this robot was saved by the system in a small area chip. The carrier can be used after rebooting. As for why the system came back, it was because the system used the host's favorability points to exchange for the opportunity to stay in this world. When the system said this, it couldn't help but feel a little wronged. It spent so much effort to exchange for such an opportunity from the main system. Who would have thought that the moment it came back, it was forced to be stuffed with dog food in close proximity, and was even attacked by the robot body. It lost to a small robot from a low-level world. It was simply infuriating. My favorability points? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. She remembered that the system did ask for her opinion before it left, and wanted to take away the remaining favorability points. She agreed at that time, but now that she thought about it, she felt that this matter wasn't so simple. How many of my favorability points did you use for this opportunity? Not much. How much is not much? The system's pair of black eyes started to roll around, obviously feeling guilty. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows. You're not allowed to lie. Speak. Only then did the system report a number hesitantly. The favorability points that the system took away when it left were not even a fraction of this number. Su Yiyan wasn't stupid. How could she not understand? Good for you. I was wondering why you suddenly became so useless. You can't even avoid the signal jamming and send out a message. So it turns out that you purposely led me to start a live broadcast to help you earn favorability points in preparation for your return. You can't bear to part with me? Hua Chenhuan stood at the side and smiled as she watched Su Yiyan knock the system's round head. She didn't mention that Su Yiyan was sad for a while when she thought that this little thing wouldn't be coming back. Su Yiyan finally got the chance to scold the system. After venting her anger for the system repeatedly choking her in her mind, Su Yiyan let out a sigh of relief. The corners of her lips couldn't help but curl up a little. She rubbed the system's round head and said earnestly, "It's fine if you come back. We can't casually take other people's bodies. In a while, I'll ask Yanbai to send over an unactivated little robot as your carrier. Let's return the body to Yuan, okay?" No. Su Yiyan originally thought that the system would be easy to talk to. After being rejected, she was very surprised. Why? Do you like the appearance of this robot? Don't worry, I'll ask Yanbai to get you one. I guarantee that it'll be exactly the same as the one you have now. The system was still unwilling to relent. It snorted coldly and turned its back to Su Yiyan, ignoring her. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. The system couldn't be jealous, right? Previously, before it had left, it had shown subtle hostility and jealousy towards Yuan several times. This time, it even directly took over Yuan's body after returning. Not to mention anything else, just that flower flick just now could be called skillful. It was enough to show that it had secretly studied Yuan's skills. The more Su Yiyan thought about it, the more she felt that this was a possibility. Looking at the system that was throwing a little tantrum and refusing to cooperate, she had no choice but to ask Hua Chenhuan for help. Hua Chenhuan received his wife's pitiful little gaze and stepped forward to help her out. Since it's unwilling, then give Yuan another shell. Yuan just so happens to prefer a more feminine robot compared to this one. It can wear those little aprons you gave it. Su Yiyan blinked and was a little curious. Does Yanbai Company have other robots with other appearances? Yes, the appearance is actually similar. It's just that some small details are different. Alright then. Ask Yanbai to send another one over. Okay. The most basic problem was solved. Su Yiyan's gaze towards the system also changed. She smiled and rubbed the system's round head. Her whole body was filled with a kind and amiable holy light. The system was speechless. It had an ominous feeling. Sure enough, in the next second Su Yiyan said, "Although we've known each other for a long time, the body you're using now was after all painstakingly developed by Hua Chenhuan's company. There's a saying that goes, if you eat someone's food, you have to be soft-hearted. You've already taken their experimental results. Aren't you going to take something out in return?" The system was speechless. It had just returned, and she was already thinking about how to exploit it. Sure enough, humans were unreliable. They were too cunning. If it had known earlier that it couldn't be saved, it would have regretted, upset, and irritable. However, no matter how regretful the system was, it was destined to be exploited by Su Yiyan for the rest of its life. It couldn't escape. Zui Yanbai had just returned to the company when he received a message from Hua Chenhuan asking him to send another female robot that didn't have a central chip installed. Although Zui Yanbai was puzzled, he didn't ask much. He personally went to the workshop to pick a robot that was about the same size as Roly Poly, but with more colorful paint. It looked more like a girl, and sent it to the family Hua. The old butler and the others didn't have much of a reaction to the new robot in the house. They just thought that it was a new product from Hua Chenhuan's company and brought it home to try it out first. On the other hand, the little ones at home were curious about the sudden appearance of a robot that looked similar to Roly Poly, but was not quite the same. Most of them were at a loss. Little Xingxing stood on the lawn in the yard and looked at the one on the left, then at the one on the right. It staggered over and circled around the two robots. Its big eyes were full of confusion, as if it didn't understand why there were two robots taking care of it instead of one. Dundun was more sensitive. After all, ever since it broke the ice with Roly Poly, the human and dog that crossed species had become real companions. Now that there was suddenly another robot, Dundun really couldn't understand why there was a robot that looked like its companion, but wasn't as easy to get along with as before. And a new member that didn't look like its companion but made it feel very close to it. Could it be that its little friend could clone itself? Dundun's small dog eyes were filled with great confusion. However, no matter what, this strange combination had gradually integrated into the house. Su Yiyan leaned against the windowsill on the second floor and looked at the scene in the yard. She couldn't help but smile. Then, she felt her waist being held, and her whole body fell into a familiar warm embrace. Happy? Yes. In the yard, the system, who was actually a new member, looked cold and didn't really like to talk to the little ones. However, if one looked closely, one would find that its black eyes had never left the little ones. Every time the little ones walked unsteadily and were about to fall, it would silently guard by the side, ready to catch the children at any time. This was originally Roly Poly's job, but now it was snatched away by the system. Or it could be said that it was secretly competing with Roly Poly. Little did it know that Roly Poly, who was regarded as an imaginary enemy by the system, didn't have this consciousness at all. It made people feel that it was fun and funny. Su Yiyan looked at this scene with a smile in her eyes. She only felt an indescribable satisfaction. I'm happy that all of you are here. After that, Su Yiyan broke free from Hua Chenhuan's embrace, turned around and hugged Hua Chenhuan's waist instead. She rubbed against his chest in satisfaction and said in a low voice, "Thank you. Thank you for everything you did for me. You allowed me to start over, save the people I wanted to save, and make up for the many, many regrets." Hua Chenhuan reached out and touched her head. He looked at the person in his arms with a gentle and indulgent gaze, as if he was looking at his own world. "Thank you too. Thank you for coming to my side without hesitation. You changed my life, and also changed our established future." The spring breeze blew, blowing the clusters of proudly blooming blue roses in the greenhouse. The fine petals danced in the wind, drifting past the two of them, bringing with them a burst of floral fragrance. Everything was so peaceful and beautiful. The suffering had ended, and a new life had arrived as promised. And the people they loved were all here. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.